going on, guys? Oh, yeah. I'm surprised all data doesn't have updated 2020, 2022, 2023 Ford Escape. Yeah, they don't have Ford Escape information. If you click on 2020 Ford Escape, if I go to, oh, no, wait, I'm clicking on the wrong category. I gotta click on Ford Truck, I think, and then I can go to us. There it is. Never mind. I forgot, as of 2020, they stopped making a lot of their sedans and stuff that they were making. It's just the Mustang and the, Mustang. So if I go Ford Truck and then go to Escape, four-wheel drive, and let's go 1.5 turbo, and then if we look up TPMS sensor on here for the technical data, remember a dealer dropped off a Ford Escape that they're having problems with the TPMS sensors, and I asked you guys a question last night in a short that I was doing, and it was, what are the different methods for training TPMS sensors? How many are there? What methods are they? If you guys have any input on exactly how you can put them into tire training mode. Good morning. Let's see here. Good morning. Moses Lake, Washington. Hello, Kelly. I'm raising my Crown Vic 3 inches. Do I need sway bar extensions? Probably. I would think that 3 inches is quite a bit for a sway bar link to. And then even at that, if you don't do the sway bar extensions, what's going to end up happening is certain bumps that you hit, it's going to really pull on that sway bar, and eventually it's going to end up cracking it. So I would just do it anyway. Hello, John. Why does my town car want to die when I hit the gas sometimes? Probably because you need a throttle body. Throttle body needs to be cleaned, or you have tune-up issues. That's what I would think. That's the place I'd start first. That's what I noticed the most with them. Yeti, hi, my first time follow you. I have an Explorer 2018 with 59,000 miles. A few months ago I replaced the gas pump and purge valve. That normal in that miles? Gas pump, no. Purge valve, yes. Yeti again, Ford Explorer XLT 2018, have some vibration in rear right side. I check, look, everything good. Tires are balanced. Any idea? Maybe disc. Yeah, I mean, it could be the fact that you have a warped rotor back there. It could be that you have some type of wheel bearing problem back there. They're notorious for that. Make sure that the toe links and the bushings back there are really tight. If you're not sure how to check that stuff, because it could be very specific on how you check that stuff, take it somewhere and have somebody look at it. Don't try to do everything yourself. It's nice to be empowered and be able to do everything yourself, but sometimes specific things are just out of our wheelhouse, and we shouldn't be afraid to spend some money and ask time to, hey, can you shake my suspension down for me? Can you really check it out? And I've got something back here that's causing some kind of vibration. Is there anything specific when the vibration happens the most? That would be my next question. Is there any particular time where you notice that you hit a bump or you turn, or is it just normal driving, just the vibration is always there? Good morning, Mr. Garage Bill Coyote. Good morning. Any idea what would be causing surging on a 7.3 diesel F-250 when going into fourth gear? I'm thinking solenoids. It could be. It could be solenoids. I don't work on a lot of 7.3 diesels. That would be more of a question. I'm just going to tell you what my wheelhouse is. That would be more of a question for Mr. Aaron from Power Stroke Tech Talk. with A-Rod. So if you just go to, he's my go-to guy for my diesel stuff when I need help. Him or Cody, or Diesel Tech Chris. But Aaron does a lot of diesel stuff, and he's been around for a while. So, and he's been in the diesel department for a long time since he's been around. So Power Stroke Tech Talk with A-Rod. Look that up. I know it's a mouthful, but he is a plethora of information when it comes to diesel stuff. Good morning, Bob. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Yep, 45 people and 16 thumbs up. That's the problem. That's people getting complacent. The thumbs up and the comments help the video get out there. So if you guys like the channel, you'll help out with that. Hey guys, greetings from Hungary. What's going on, man? Hungry. I'm not hungry, but hello, Hungry. Good morning. Rick, how are you? Yeti? Good morning to you. Just had a 16 Explorer 3.5 Cyclone water pump done instead of doing it myself. It's a big job, so sometimes you just have to let somebody else do it. Yeah, rim could be bent as well. Likely, I mean, if a rim is bent, you're gonna know that you probably hit something hard enough to do that. So I wouldn't think a rim would be bent, because that would be common sense to somebody to think, oh wow, I smashed that pothole or I hit something. I think I messed up something with that wheel, you know, that rim or that tire or something. You know, it could be a shifted belt in the tire as well. So that's why I say get it to somebody, let them check it. Quality employees. Your business lower their standards, close up shop, or hang in there until the quality of labor improves? No, you roll with what you got to do what you got to do to keep the business open. That's just how it is. Night Toe, good morning. When driving more 60 mile per hour, smell gas from outside and then gone and back depending on how you accelerate. They've always had problems with fumes getting inside those Explorers though, Yeti. That's nothing new. Ford has struggled with that since 2011, 2012. That's been a common issue with that particular model vehicle. So they made recall provisions to put patches under the floors and different vent drains and reprogramming the HVAC control module for, you know, smells getting back in the cabin. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they did. Who's my trans guy? E4OD? Brandon on TikTok or on here. It would be easier to get a hold of him on TikTok. From Performance Transmission. Brandon. Favorite fuel injector cleaner? BG. BG 44K. Hey Rich, you mentioned in a previous video of reliable Ford Fusion years. What were they again? I have a Focus that is my work car, but rusting away rapidly. If I was to get a Fusion, I would get any of the ones prior to 2013. So 2012, any of the Fusions would have been good. The 2.5 liter or the 3.0 liter. And then after 2012, I really liked the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated the best. That was the one, that was my go-to. I like it the best. I thought Lyser was a mod. I don't know why it's not letting me. It's not letting me click on his name. I need a new comment from him. Look on Amazon for BG44K. Best synthetic oil besides Amsoil, Pennzoil Platinum Ultra, or Valvoline High Mileage. 2002 Ford Ranger refueling keeps kicking off nozzle when not full. You have a carbon canister problem, or you have a purge valve or vent valve problem. Chances are you've overfueled the vehicle too many times by clicking, and now you have carbon canister damage. So you're probably going to have to replace the carbon canister on the vehicle. Good morning. 2010 or 2018 Expedition. I'm not sure why the 10R80 will fail. Would you replace with a Jasper reman or go with a Perform rebuilt unit from a race shop? I might trust one from a race shop more than I would trust one from just Jasper or Ford, just for the simple fact that the 10R80 transmission is complete trash. It's got way too many faults. Ford hasn't been working out the kinks. It's the same old dog and pony show with Chevy and Ford, both of them consistently failing. The 10-speed transmission, no matter what you do, I wish I could just start telling people I'm not answering questions about the 10-speed anymore just because they are complete trash. The three common failures with them are the valve body, the most, fluid contamination, Ford always says, and the CDF drum that affects other shift points of the vehicle as well. 710. It's a trash transmission. It's no good. I'm just going to be straight with you. Yeah, you can make them work. You can over-service them. You can use places like 5-Star Tuning and stuff like that to tune the transmission to get it to shift better and last. But it's just a trash transmission. Let's call it what it is. 2010 Dodge Caravan thumping front end over bumps, burning off inside of tires. Bad. Doesn't seem to be loose or steering. I mean, I would think that thump over bumps would be sway bar links tapping or strut mounts, typically. Sometimes ball joints can do that as well, or bushing points from lower control arms. Mainly, I see the most as ball joints, upper strut mounts, and sway bar links. Have a great day, Rick. Best synthetic oil, I already answered that. I mean, I've heard different things too, but they're not common correlation for the amount of times I've seen it in others. I've heard of hub bearings funk on bumps. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but not common. Why is it not letting me click on Liza's name? I don't know why it's not letting me. Best shock? My favorite shock, I think I like it the most, is Bilstein's. Good morning, dear. I see you. I see you, my better half. I said good morning to you and I kissed you and I told you I loved you before I left, okay? You didn't wake up very good. You were just kind of like, and then you just put your head back down. So, I did it. You didn't wake up all the way. My daily driver is a Focus Z-Tech, has an IB5 manual gearbox, lifetime oil, no drain plug, 200,000 miles in it. Should I remove that junk? I mean, you know how I feel about lifetime fluid. There's no such thing as lifetime fluid. So, it is what it is. Neat struts and shocks, 78,000 miles. What do you think of rough country leveling struts? Excessive wear on components or anything? It's not really excessive wear on components and stuff like that. I don't mind rough country. I just find, like, I guess you could say when you're looking at suspension stuff, when it comes to like aftermarket leveling kits and stuff like that, they're really good. I just like expensive. If I'm gonna go aftermarket off-road stuff, I go expensive. I don't go generic or mediocre when it comes to that, unless somebody's sending me something for free. There's nothing wrong with rough country. If you're not beating the living hell out of this thing and you're expecting it to perform at some kind of like professional off-roading standard, when it comes to general everyday use, there's no problem at all. And even off-roading and stuff, no problem at all. But getting aggressive, rough country, it wouldn't be my number one choice for off-roading stuff like that, if I'm going to get super, super aggressive. Thinking about buying a 97 Mustang Cobra, what are some things I should look for? Just rust. Look at the strut towers, look at the torque boxes underneath at the rear end where everything mounts. Look at the head gasket areas around the side of the engine and stuff like that. Make sure nothing's leaking down the side of the engine. If you can get down in there and see, those are the main points. Motor additive, My favorite motor additives are Marvel Mystery Oil. Um, Marvel Mystery Oil is my favorite. That's really all I like so far for oil additive. Why won't it let me click on your name? There we go. Alright, I hope I'm saying your name right, Lizer, M. Lizer. You're now one of the managing moderators on the channel. Also, other question, Explorer XLT 18 collision sensor turn on like is not active or blocked when in cruise. Sensor bad, where is it located? I mean, it's got to be in the front bumper somewhere, Yeti. I mean, it's a collision sensor. You have to think along that. It's in the front bumper somewhere. In the front bumper or the front grille somewhere. It's been a long time since I looked at that. And you say collision sensor. I don't call it a collision sensor, so I'd need you to use proper terminology. So I mean, I'm not getting on you or whatever, and it might be called some form of collision sensor, so I can look it up. I'd be willing to talk to you via an email and get more in depth with that, but I'm not doing that here, because that's a whole that could snowball trying to get into stuff like that. And really, if you're messing with a collision sensor and you haven't done that type of stuff, because it's a safety feature, I don't typically like helping people with stuff like that, because I'd rather a professional look at it than a regular DIY guy, just because of that being a safety feature. Just picked up a nice 04 town car. Is there anything you can do to preserve exhaust manifold studs? Not really, to be honest with you. If they're ready to go, they're ready to go. And when they're ready to go, they're ready to go. You can sit there like once a week or once a month and brush them off and make sure rust and stuff isn't building up and giving it moisture collection points. But no matter what, unless you're using stainless steel studs and stuff like that that are going to make them last a lot longer, or coating them with like copper anti-seize, you're not gonna protect those studs. When those studs are ready to break, they're gonna break. And don't use cheap gaskets if you redo the manifolds. Don't go with like I hate to say it because I've been working with Dorman. I don't like Dorman exhaust manifold gaskets or any of those crush gaskets. They're terrible. They don't last very long. 6 months to a year and they're leaking again, even though the studs are good. Go with a set of Motorcraft, the stamped stainless or whatever it is gaskets. Use them. Do not use the aftermarket crush type. Stabilizer bar on a Toyota Tundra. I don't work on those, so I don't know. Night Toe, if you all have a moment, go tap the like button for the boss. It would be nice, but I don't know. People forget to do it. Thanks for the info of what you do. Jason, what are you retracting comments for there, buddy? Ask it. KYB shocks and struts, great products from my Oh yeah, KYB is good. Well, you're always here. I think it's Lizer, right? Am I saying it right? Lizer? M. Lizer? You're always here, so why not? I just bought a new 2023 F-150 Tremor 3.5. Is it normal for the 10-speed to shift kind of rough? Of course it is. That's what I just got done saying. The 10-speeds shift like absolute dog crap. Yes, they do. Unless you put it in sport mode, and then it shifts like it's a race car all the time, but it's a nice shift. Favorite air filter? OE. What normally causes the door jar light to stay on all the time on the 2006 Escapes? The door switch assembly, the actual latching mechanism typically is bad. My 18 shifts late out of third, almost every cold third. All of them do that. McCreed, all of them do that. the third gear, fourth gear, downshifts hard, third gear, fourth gear, 7 to 10 shifts rough sometimes. High end and low end. What's my favorite scan tool? My favorite scan tool so far is probably the. It's only like a $1,500 scan tool. It's probably the Topdon Phoenix Elite. And low end would be. So far, I like the AutoFix D1. The AutoFix D1 is a small handheld scan tool. It's a little tablet based. It's like take two of your hands and stack, like put them on top of each other. It's as thin as your hand, if not thinner, and they're really nice, and it works very, very well. The cheapest, best one that you can put in your toolbox that's by far better than anything I've seen so far for about 90 bucks is the ThinkCar ThinkDiag. I think they've changed the name since then, but if you look up ThinkCar ThinkDiag, you can pull door codes with the damn thing with your phone. It's a wireless dongle. You download the app to your phone, and you can pull door codes with it. You can. It's bi-directional. It's got security features. It's got minimal lag in between, like loading the vehicle, getting it. It's very fast. It's a very, 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 very high-end dongle that everything's done right from your phone. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah, Zip, they shift like crap. They're crap. The transmissions are crap. You're having issues with reoccurring MAF and MAP throttle actuation codes even after replacement on my 05 4.0 Mustang. Mechanic told me I should replace the computer. Figured I'd come to the boss first. I would make sure there's no plugs in the intake manifold. I would make sure that the air filter assembly and stuff is clear. And I would make sure that you have good exhaust flow before you start trying to go make sure the cats aren't plugged and stuff like that. I would really make sure that there's no restrictions in the intake side and the exhaust side before I go start replacing stuff. Best gear oil? I don't know. AMSOIL. A lot of people love AMSOIL gear oil. They say that even though there are a lot of compatible, really good gear oils, that AMSOIL gear oil seems to make the rear end cooler whenever they're testing with a thermal gun. Whatever. I buy Valvoline gear oil is what I buy. Or I buy Master, what is it? Master Parts? Parts Master gear oil. It's just regular gear oil. It's just good gear oil. Gear oil. It doesn't cost a ton of money. So I change it often anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. McCreed, the valve body at one of the pumps was replaced but didn't fix it long term. It's not going to fix it long term because you have to replace this, probably the copper sleeve in the CDF drum that keeps sliding and allowing fluid to bleed off. Do I recommend a catch cam for a 22 F-150-27? Of course I do. Yeah, you can clear shift strategy all you want. You can reset adaptive all you want. It is not going to fix the shifting problem for a 10-speed transmission in the Ford vehicles. It's not going to, or the Chevys. 22 F-150-27 oil pump belt change interval. Reliable? Yes. Interval? I don't know. Do it when you do the timing change. 120, 140,000 miles, something like that. ...2011 Ranger, more and more every day. I see more and more issues with the new stuff. It is. Yeah, you're right. The new stuff is... Do you think the 10-speed is just too many gears and makes the trans complicated? Yes. I think it's overkill. I have a 10-speed 4-cylinder Camry on it, and it seems confused with what gear. 10-speed, any manufacturer with a 10-speed right now knows that they don't... That the 10-speed is only there for fuel consumption issues. It is there for EPA guidelines and government BS. That's all it's there for. There's no reason for a 10-speed to be in any passenger vehicle right now. None. Zero. 10-speed transmissions are complete trash. There's too many gears. They don't belong in there. It's just, it doesn't do anything. The 6-speed transmission, to me, was as far as they needed to go. That's it. You're never going to need anything more than that for any reason. If you can't make fuel efficiency with a 6-speed transmission, you got problems. Clearing up slightly rough idle when warm on a 18.35 EcoBoost. Plugs. Plugs and clean the throttle body. Why do the F-150 10-speed transmission shift like crap but go crank shift smooth as butter? What? Why do the F-150 10-speed transmission shift like crap but go trans shift smooth as butter? I don't know what you're asking. Go trans. Go trans shift smooth as butter. Is that a shift kit that you put in there? Maybe that's why it shifts like. Alright, I'm not sure what the question is. Anyway, I wanted to do something while we were on here real quick. Tire pressure monitoring system. Okay, let's go to the description and operation of this vehicle. General information. Pretty sure we found out what was wrong with the vehicle last night. It's exactly what I was thinking as well. It says there's two different ways that, or two different sensors that this vehicle could have. It says a 21 Ford Escape 4-wheel drive can have a 433 megahertz sensor, or it could have a 315 megahertz sensor. It just all depends on when it was built. It says 2/3/2 of 22. So I have to figure out the build date of the vehicle, because if the build date is before 3/2 of 22, it's got the wrong TPMS sensors in it. So that's what we're going to do next. Is we're going to look at the build date of this vehicle that the dealer dropped off, and we're going to see if it's got the wrong sensors in it. What am I having for lunch today? I don't know. Probably nothing. I didn't eat lunch yesterday, and I started this new weight loss shot every Saturday, and I've taken it 2 weeks now. The first 2 weeks it didn't do anything. The third time I took it, it started suppressing my appetite. So now in the afternoon I don't want to eat as much. Why do the F-150 10-speed transmission shift like crap, but the GM shift smooth as butter? They don't shift smooth as butter. That's specifically why I was referencing both the GM and the Ford 10-speed transmissions have a shit ton of problems and they're garbage. Both of them. Neither one of them shift like butter, so I don't know where you're getting that from. They don't shift like butter. What's up with your username? User19. Normally when I get people here that show up with those types of names, it's because they did it quick and they're trolls. They create these troll names so they can go troll other people, and they have a bunch of accounts that they can just click on when they're blocked, and then they just come back. What's up with the username? I had a person here with a similar name recently trolling the channel, and I had to end up kicking him off. Then he came back with another name, same one, I had to kick him off again. Oh, really? My friend says this 21 Chevy 1500 shifts very smooth. Can't feel shifts at all. Probably BSing me. Remember, if you guys say curse words and stuff like that on here, YouTube will hold it for review until somebody approves it because they don't want the stuff on the screen because children may be watching. So, just let you guys know. I ain't holding it. It's built into the AI system. Thank you for the channel and your knowledge. Hey, no problem, Kev. What would you buy today, used or new truck? Used. 2015 to 2017 F-150, 5.0 liter, 6R80 transmission, aluminum body, done. Nothing else. I won't buy another truck. That's it. Or I would buy any 6.2 gasser from 2011 up in a F-150 platform or Super Duty platform. Very nice setup. Okay, I just want to make sure. I've had a bunch of people with your type of name pop up on here, and I don't really see you comment anything, so maybe you should comment more so I can say hi to you. Yes, thanks for the knowledge. I wish you were again. I mean, I hear guys in Canada, I hear it's worse in Canada. The way Ford and other manufacturers take care of their products in Canada, I hear it's way worse. Because people are like, here, they just tell you to get bent. If they don't want to work on your stuff, they'll just tell you go home. They won't work on it. Trying to find the specifics on. Okay. There's multiple different ways to calibrate the TPMS sensors in a vehicle. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later. What do I think about the Maverick Hybrid? It's a great vehicle. Probably one of the best vehicles they've built in a long time. I appreciate that. I mean, you should comment more. Good morning to you. Second generation EcoBoost 3.5. To be honest with you, I don't really care for too many of the EcoBoosts at all. I like the first generation better than any of them because they lasted the longest without having a bunch of chain problems. So, I'm really not an EcoBoost fan, to be honest with you, unless it's a 2.7, but even at that, I'm not a huge fan. How do you know it's time to replace the control arms on a Panther? Oh, you'll know. The ball joints will start popping, the rubber in the mounts will start rolling out. Whenever you go to hit the brakes, there'll be a clunk back and forth. Sometimes you can put it in reverse and hit the brakes and it'll go clunk. You hit the brakes going forward, it'll go clunk, and it's one single clunk. That's because the bushings are shifting back and forth. You'll know. It'll make like a squeaking over bumps and turning. It's time. You hate TPMS sensors. You wish there was a way to turn a dash light. I followed a Super Duty sequence in an Econoline recently. There was a dude that came here and was like, can you just turn my TPMS sensors off? Like, program them out of this truck as if they were never even there. I'm tired of tire shops. Every time I take my trucks to somebody, breaking my sensors, it's costing me more money, and then I got to wait longer, and then they won't have the sensors in stock. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn them off. So I actually went into the computer system and went into the modules, and I turned the system off completely as if the truck was never even built with it. The guy never had a single complaint again after that. Never a tire light again after that, nothing. Would I undercoat a new Ford truck? Yes, but I would not use rubberized undercoating. I would use oil-based undercoating. Surface Shield, wool wax, any of that type of stuff. It works. Valvoline High Mileage Advanced no longer has a DEXO certification. Do you think I'm still safe using it on a DMC terrain? Yeah, Chris, come on. How long you been here, Chris? You know that DEXO certification is just for testing purposes. It just says that this type of oil meets a certain classification that's safe to be run under extreme conditions with GM engines. You ain't running that thing like a hot rod, like you're trying to race every single Mustang that pulls up next to you. Any GF6 rated oil, new oil, is going to be safe for any new vehicle. It's going to meet all requirements of all manufacturers pretty much. It's just they didn't pay for the stamping. The big boys, or the good old boy system didn't come into play with that particular oil. You prefer DVOM, Fluke, OTC, Fluke. The ball mechanic heart here. What's up, man? What causes a 10R80 transmission slip, hesitate when turning? It's the junk transmission. Put the car on a jack stand and wiggle the wheels. Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, that's how you ultimately test for it. But what I do is I do more than that. I put it up in the air and I shift the whole entire assembly forward and back, in and out, and then I check other ways with pry bars and all kinds of stuff. You use ForScan to disable the TPMS on your son's 06 Escape. The vehicle isn't worth putting into. Yeah, exactly. I have a Ford V10 3-valve engine with 2-piece spark plug design. Any tips on how to pull them out without separating? Thanks. Yeah, use an impact. Use something quick. If it breaks, but that's the best way to do it. A little bit warm. Doesn't have to be super warm. Let the vehicle run a little bit, get some warmth going to the engine. Pull it right out. I think they say about 140 degrees at cylinder head temp is key. What makes oil pressure gauge rapidly flutter on deceleration? Rapidly flutter. I'd have to see what it rapidly flutter looks like. Can I use 50 weight instead of 20 weight in my VTEC? Probably not. I mean, it might not function correctly for you. Motor coat, I don't have an opinion on it. I tested it and nothing came back in any of the lab result categories. So you can't even test motor coat on a regular oil test. I don't use that oil from Rural King. I haven't used it yet. What do I say about the timing chain on a Honda because of age? I would say they're probably close to being correct on it. It's preventative, so you'd be sorry, you'd be hating yourself if you don't do it. Oh, you put it over there? Turning to stop, I would think it would be an ABS event, but I don't know. Can't help you on that one, man. So there is a couple different methods for tire training. If you have a newer Ford with TPMS sensors, you can hit the hazard button 5 times and it will put it in training mode. It's typically to just reset pressure. There's another method that people get wrong all the time. They're like, oh, hit the brake pedal 5 times and then do this, and they're always wrong. And then they're like, oh, turn the vehicle on and off 5 times and hit the brake pedal. It's not 5 times. You don't have to do it 5 times. It's with the vehicle off. You go on, off, on, brake pedal, off, on, and then on the 3rd time it goes on, it goes ding ding, and it's in TPMS mode. There's none of this 5 times hit the key or the push button or none of that. You don't have to do that. It's on, on, brake, off, on, and then it ding ding goes into training mode. And that's typically a sequence thing if you rotated the tires. Then there's another way to do it where you actually use the computer to burn the sequence ID and stuff into the computer. There's multiple ways to do this. And they all have different purposes. You have to know what purpose it is. Like if the vehicle comes off of a truck the first time it's been delivered, the sequence ID has already been burned into the computer, so I don't need to do that. And it already knows what position that tire is in. That's how it's tracking that the front left is low at, 22 psi or something like that. What I need to do is hit the hazard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's on-off sequences. On, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, and then just the number of times is irrelevant, because if you keep hitting on and off, it's going to put it in tire training mode automatically when you get to the right number of on-off with a hazard anyway, and then you can go around and train your tires. What makes brake pads wear high on one side and low on the other side? Well, your pins aren't traveling properly. You got to clean up the pins and stuff, the caliper travel pins. They're seizing up somehow. That's what you gotta try that. You gotta clean that up. With the 2018 Ford Escape, do you need a special tool to push back the calipers? I already have ForScan for service mode. No, you just push them back. If you have electronic rear calipers, put it in service mode and then just use your normal method for pushing the caliper piston in. You don't have to twist it or anything. And I get this all the time with people and other technicians from other shops. They're like, oh, I put it in service mode and then I turn the piston in. You don't have to turn the piston when you put it in service mode. You just push the piston straight back in like a normal piston. That's why they let you put it in service mode, and it just glides back in. There's no reason to turn the piston when you put it in service mode. Ballpark price for I don't know, man. People don't, that's not a normal question. I can't tell you a ballpark price. I can look it up real quick. 12 Ford. What type of Fusion is it? Give me some more information. Is it a all-wheel drive? It says Fusion all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive for 2012. If we're doing front-wheel drive, 2.5 liter, is it a hybrid or is it a non-hybrid? More info. If it's regular non-hybrid, transmission, automatic transmission, transaxle. It says complete assembly without transfer of parts is 7.4 hours. With transfer of parts is about 8 hours. And it says to get a new transmission, ballpark is about $4,000. So if we were gonna do out the door, let's just say $4,000 times 1.1025. Oh, you frickin' jerk. So you're looking at $4,410 just for the transmission with tax out the door, and then you're gonna add plus 8.0 times no, go back. 150 times no, it's gonna be 1,200. 1,200 plus 4,410. Like 5610 out the door for a transmission. Best Ford engine ever? It's 462 valve or the 542 valve. Strongest Ford engine ever? inline 300 or inline 6, the 300. I have a 13 Edge with a 3.5. Do you recommend staying with 520 or 5? I use 530 in any of my Ford stuff that says if it requires 520, I automatically put 530 in it with my Fords. That's what I'm doing now. No problem. What else you guys got? We've been on here 45 minutes. I'm about to jump off of here. I got to get my day started. How much to replace a 17 F-150 at my shop? Huh. Ballpark? Let's see. 17 Ford truck. We go by the book, guys. So if it looks like the dealer, then it just looks like the dealer. We're going to go F-150 four-wheel drive. 10R80. I need more information. What is it? It's a 3.5. If it's a 3.5, so okay, it says because it's a 17, you could have got two options in 17. If it's a 3.5, you got the 10R80, but if it's anything else, you got the 6R80. The 10R80 in 17 for a 3.5 EcoBoost is $53.32 is what it is. It comes out to. That's without tax. So if I was going to 50, let's see, 53.32 times 1.1025. You're looking at 58.78 for a transmission, brand new, about ballpark, and then 58.78, and then it says remove and replace transmission R&R, and that's not including flush the cooler lines. If you want flushing the cooler lines and doing the rear flex plate bolts and everything while we're there and making sure everything that can get done while we're in there, you're going to be talking more money, obviously. But it says transmission R&I, remove and install, is drive plate. So you're looking at about 9 hours. So 9 times 150, so 1350 in labor, and then 58.82. You're looking at about $7,300 ballpark with a new trans. Best time to change spark plugs about every, depends on what it is. What are we asking? What engine? I mean, you know, in my town car, it's got, the plugs have 60,000 miles on them, and they still look like new. But if I was to check the plugs at about 45,000 miles on an EcoBoost, they look like trash. They look like they're already burned up and they're no good anymore. You run 5W30 in your Panthers? Absolutely. 5W30. That's what I run. I just, every like 2 or 3 oil changes, I run a can of EPR through the engine, keep the oil passages and stuff cleaned out. The Coyotes love new spark plugs. I mean, I've had my truck for, when did I buy that truck here on the channel? Was it like a year ago that I bought that truck? Maybe not even a year. I bought it at 79,000 miles. It has 96,000 miles on it. So I've had that truck for, I think, for about a year. When is the Coyote swap starting? Well, when you have 6 vehicles that you're trying to keep up on everything, projects don't get done very fast. And when companies are continuing to send you products to review and it takes more time and more time, like yesterday, I could have done some on that rear end. I could have worked on the engine a little bit, prepping it. But remember, this is going to be like a whole year project thing. This ain't going to be anything that's rushed. I had to put, company sent me a $150 set of airbags for the town car yesterday, and the town car airbags are about 6-7 years old and they're starting to get cracks in the bottom. So I figured what better time than to do it. They sent me a $150 set of bags, so why not? Let's try out these cheaper bags and see if they're any good. And they actually fit very good, and they look very good, so hopefully they hold up. Then right after that, I've got like a $500 airbag kit that needs to go on the F-150 that helps level it out when you're towing and stuff. Another company sent me that. The same company sent me that to try out on the F-150 to show you guys. And then right after that, there's a company that has already shipped out. It's called Lesser or Lessum LED lights. No, it's not Lessum. Lesser. Oh, I hate when they try to autofill stuff for you. Yeah, it's called LessumLED.com, and they sent me a $1,000 set of lights, like the full. Here, let me show you what they look like. So when you go here to their webpage, you scroll down, it'll ask you what generation F-150 you have. So I put here F-150. And then it says for the 2015 to 2017 is $1,300 for this is a Lessum full LED projector headlights. F-150 are made with the highest quality. And this is their website right here. They just sent me these LED lights to put in the truck, and it's the whole entire housing. It's everything. So, I mean, I'd love to get the projects done. I'd love to get the Thunderbird in the shop right now, but with us having, higher customer load, my cars are not a priority. I simply try to sneak them in and get stuff done when I can. The customers are more important than any of my projects. And frankly, let's be honest there. Having a vehicle of mine in the shop takes up a spot where we could be making money. So the only time that I would do that is if I really, really needed something done, especially if it's a project. It's never going to get done before a customer's car. It's just not going to happen. And if it's a project that's going to take some time like the Thunderbird is, and it's going to be an elongated project, that has to be done whenever we're slow or there's nothing really going on in the shop, or like the winter time or something when everything starts to slow down. That's when I would really start focusing on the meat and potatoes of the teardown. In the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing some videos with you guys on putting the engine in the back corner on a stand and tearing apart the front cover and doing the timing chains and putting like the Gen 3 internals in it and upgrading the engine portion, preparing it to go into the Thunderbird, and rebuilding the rear end and getting that stuff done and stripped down and painted. Those are going to be a lot of the projects that you're going to see first before anything. But I got to get these other projects done beforehand. '87 El Camino air shocks. Any recommendations? Unfortunately, I don't have any recommendations. What is my preferred oil and filter to use? Well, I answer this 1,000 times a day. It's either going to be Pennzoil Ultra Platinum or it's going to be Valvoline High Mileage, and I prefer to use a Purolator Boss filter or if I really am picky about what's getting in this engine, I want the Fram Ultra on the car. And I know a lot of people don't like Fram, but most of the time the stuff that they're saying is a bunch of hogwash anyway. It's just fanboy bias stuff. The Fram Ultra filter is very fine, and it does pick up most of the contaminants other filters don't. And that's a problem for somebody because it can become restrictive. But when I'm trying to run a vehicle 500,000 miles plus, and I change the oil often, that's the type of filter I want on my vehicle. Now, performance vehicle oriented, I probably would put the Purolator Boss on it, or I would run like a Ford performance filter is what I would run. Yeah, these lights are pretty nice. But did you see the lights for the 18 to 20 model? They're even nicer. Let me see if I can get this thing. These are sick. The 18 to 20 model are very, very nice. The whole thing lights up. It's kind of built like the C-rings on the Super Duty, like the new C-rings on the Super Duty. The whole thing lights up all the way around. That's pretty dang cool. I like these though. I like the fact that they have some different accents in it. I like the blue that it has in there. Yeah, the Fram orange can filters, even though they're not really that great, they suffice. You know, they work for 3, 4, 5,000 miles, and you don't need to run them any more than that. You know, if that's a 3,000 mile filter all day, it's just a, I just don't get it. Uh, People say a lot of bad stuff about them, but they really don't know what they're talking about. There's some differences. I have a display right here. I know some of you have seen it already, but there are some differences. Like if you look at the two compatible filters here, this is a Wix. This has a better, you see this Wix style bypass here? That's the same style that Ford uses in their filters. And the ones that come from the factory in the Fords look like this style. The ones that are at the dealership have the holes in the side right here instead of the top. So that's why I'm convinced that the Ford filters that come from the factory that are on the vehicle are some type of Wix looking design where the bypass is in the actual top. But then the ones at the dealership have the bypass in the side that Purolator make. And if you look at the amount of pleats in this Fram versus the amount of pleats in this Wix versus this Fram, they're completely different. And this has a steel bottom where this is a cardboard bottom. This is a rubber. This is a silicone. The base plate is a little beefier on the Wix. So you know, if we're gonna compare, this has a heavy duty spring where this is a leaf spring assembly. So there's a difference between the Wix and the Fram for sure. The Fram is just a cheaper filter. It'll suffice, but it's just a cheaper filter. The Motorcraft filters, if you're at the end of the day, whenever you're trying to really figure out what you should be running in your vehicle, the Motorcraft filters at the end of the day are going to be the best bet you can run in pretty much any vehicle. It wasn't just Cummins back in the day that slandered Fram. It was, you know, if you actually look at the TSB from Cummins, see if I can pull it up. Anyway, there was a bulletin back in the day that Dodge released that said don't use these types of oil filters. And in that bulletin, it said something about, you know, a specific type of Fram filter. But in that same bulletin, there was also one or two other manufacturers involved in that same bulletin, and also Fram's derivative brand that would fit that same engine as well. Or not Fram, but Dodge. So it wasn't just criticism of Fram. It was their own brands. There was like one or two filters from their own brands. There was one or two other manufacturers besides Fram, and then there was Fram itself. What do you got to do, clock in? Huh? You got to clock in? Okay. You know there's one on that computer too. Here. Yeah, they put one over there also. Good. Dear sir, daughter just bought a 2013 Acura MBX. MBX or MDX? 6-cylinder. It recommends 520 oil. What is a good oil to use? Thank you. I would say Pennzoil Ultra Platinum, or one of the Valvoline lines, advanced, extended protection, high mileage. I like the high mileage line because it's got more ester in it. But going back to the Fram, the whole Fram Cummins debacle, that was not a thing that was to bash Fram. It was just them saying like, look, this is not a good application to put on this engine. Just stop running these on these engines. You guys are not running them. It's not a strong filter to be run long term, and you guys are running them long term. But again, I can't stress this enough. It was not just Fram. There were other filters put in there, including their own. The only approved filters for Dodge's diesel engines are as follows. It used to be like 3 or 4 different Mopar numbers. Now it's like this guy here. From the service manual, Mopar 508 328 5AA. Fleet Guard, Fleet Guard, Fleet Guard, Fleet Guard, Fleet Guard, Cummins Cellulose, Motorcraft FL896 Cellulose, Purolator Cellulose. There's a whole series of it right now, and it says the top oil filter is the Donaldson Endurance ELF 7349 oil filter. because Donaldson has their blue series, their blue line, but it's a very restrictive filter. It filters down to 99% efficiency at 15% or 15 micron or 15 micron at 99% efficiency, but that's a pretty restrictive filter. And yes, it is a very good filter, but it is the best filter on the market for filtering, but it's very restrictive. It just all depends on what you want. There's like, you can go back and look at all types of information from back in the day where they were having what was it, like 2001, 2002, that Ford switched from 5W20 to 5W30 in their Panther platform cars. You can look in the manual and it would say recommended 5W30, oil cap would say 5W30, but then in 2003 it went back to 5W20 and the oil cap changed. Nothing changed about the engine. There wasn't a single thing that changed about the engine. Something happened between those couple years where they recommended 5W30 over 5W20, which tells me that any of the Panther platform vehicles, since they were built, can run a grade higher. You can go from 5W20 to 5W30 no problem. It was even acceptable in many years with the same engine, the same platform, the same build, and nothing changed. But they did that. Manufacturers have done that, especially when EPA gets involved. You can run all different types of weights of water. There's a dude that came by my house, a tree service guy, phenomenal guy, great personality. 2013, 2014, Ford F-150 with a naturally aspirated V6. He pulls up to the house. This thing is super freaking quiet, and it's just sitting there. And I was like, wow, man, that truck sounds really, really clean. I mean, it's just, the engine is clean. It's got new brakes and tires and stuff on it. He said, I maintain the hell out of this thing. And he said, come over here. It's got like 414 or 444,000 miles on this truck. And he said, since 35 miles from me picking it up at the dealer and driving it back to my shop, my tree shop, I changed the oil immediately. I have never run Ford oil in this truck. I changed it immediately. I put 15W40 in it immediately. I've never had a timing chain done on this thing. I've never had tensioners done on this thing. And from brand new, all I've run is 15W40 Rotella in this truck, and I've never had a single issue other than an alternator and brakes done, just general maintenance stuff done. Never been inside this engine, and it still runs just like the day I bought it. And I've never run Ford spec water oil. It's exactly what he said. And right on the dash, right on the dash, 444,000 miles on a naturally aspirated V6 in an F-150 from like 2013, 2014. Definitely, Ryan. They have like full. I appreciate that, Steve. Good morning from the UK. Good morning. Would 5W40 or 5W50 hurt, or in my Hemi work just? I would honestly. Chaos. I hate talking to people about their Mopars, to be honest with you. Those vehicles are so sensitive to oil in general. I think a thicker oil would really do that engine good. But the main thing with that engine is too many people on job sites let those trucks sit and idle. And then I see people here around the city, they'll pull up in parking spot at the grocery stores or on the side of the road, and they're playing on their phone, and they're just letting them things sit there and idle and idle and idle and idle. And I go up to them and I'll tell them, hey, look, I know I'm some stranger coming up to you, but I'm a social media automotive influencer, and I run my own shop. I just want to give you a little piece of advice. These don't sit here and run well when you idle them. It's terrible for the engine. They have oil supply issues in these Hemis. They're not supposed to be idled. And when you start them up, they're really meant to, when you start them up, you get some oil pressure going and you go. You don't let them sit and idle. It's terrible on these engines. And people are like, oh, I didn't know that, and nobody ever told me that. Well, you know now. They have oil supply problems. Do not idle these engines. You bet. Who does what, Steve? I bet you do. What is that? What is that comment all about? Max, no problem. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. 2000 Town Car, 199K, head gasket went. What else would you check, replace if you were doing the job while the heads and intake are off? Lifters would get done. Rockers would get replaced. Gaskets would get done. A pass-through tube for the coolant underneath the intake manifold, that would get taken care of. Yeah. Front cover gaskets, front cover seal. Dude, I'd do so much if I had that off. The studs would get done. I'd use Napa has a set of stainless steel studs for those things that are super nice. Steve, what was your comment about? I bet you do. I'm just trying to figure that out. '11 Explorer, 189,000 miles. Drain and fill tranny service takes about 4 to 5 quarts. Flush not needed, correct? Tranny fuel's fine, but by the way, just trying to take care of this. Yeah, you don't need to flush that. You're good. You just drain it, fill it. But make sure when you check it, it's at a full operating temperature for fluid level. Don't do it any other way. It needs to be at full operating full operating temperature. 17 Lincoln MKX Reserve 3.7 all-wheel drive. Anything I should look out for? No, that's a beautiful vehicle. I'd love that. I'd love to have one of them. I don't know that, and they're very, very hard to find. A Lincoln Reserve with a 3.7 all-wheel drive is very hard to find. You know, anything to check, I would look at, honestly, I'd be wanting to check the all-wheel drive unit, make sure that the PTU, the power transfer unit, is not leaking and the fluid isn't all burned up in it. What else? All-wheel drive unit is the main thing that stands out to me, and the wheel bearings. The wheel bearings on them like to chew up wheel bearings. Brian, see you, brother. The Army has a study on synthetic versus conventional in their helicopter transmissions, and they found no difference in wear upon teardowns. I mean, I believe it. Is that before or after lifter failure? I mean, it's both. I just replaced a set of Hemi lifters in a 5.7 2011 Grand Cherokee because it was just starting to tap. The problem is the AFM system, and there's actually a time clock on that computer too now. I don't know if it's up or not, but you see it? No, you're good. I just didn't want you to be uncomfortable. Does the exhaust header need to be removed to replace the dipstick tube on a 2009 3-valve 4.6 F-150? Oh, I want to say no. The last time I did one of them, oh, it's been a while. Sometimes that can be a pain in the freaking butt, is that damn dipstick tube, man. I'm pretty sure I had to bend it a certain way to get it to fit down in there and pull it out. I hate the way they do that. 2009 F-150 truck. Ford truck. F-150 four-wheel drive. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It says VIN 8 or VIN W. Let's check both. Dipstick. Remove the left-hand exhaust manifold. It sucks. I think I bent mine a certain way, but it does have a, basically when the gasket is put on the manifold, there's a loop, and the tube has to fit through the loop before the manifold is put on, because once the manifold is put on, it pushes the gasket up against the side of the block where that loop is, and that bend has to fit through the loop on the exhaust manifold. Yeah, I thought it was something weird like that. Yeah, I remember having to bend one to get it to go through there, and then as I was putting it through, I kept trying to bend it back normal, and it worked, but I fought like hell trying to do it. And let's see, I'll show you a picture here. How did I hurt your feelings the other day, Jay? What's going on, man? How are you? Let me get Al. You got a customer, Al. How did I hurt your feelings the other day, Jay? I remember saying something to you that was pretty. I think it's because everybody's like, you know, oh, I remember what it was now, Jay, and you know what? I apologize for hurting your feelings. I apologize for that. But here's the thing, dude, and here's I've already been through this with you. You've already asked that, and I remember you specifically asking that before. You've specifically asked, are you going to change your channel name now that you don't work for Ford anymore? And I get that asked so many times. I can go out there right now and people bringing me Fords from the dealership. People bringing me Fords from the community still to this day that I work on. My guys don't really work on them too much. I do it myself, or I oversee them working on it because they bring it to me. I just had two of my subscribers yesterday come pick up Ford vehicles. Why would I change my channel name when I specifically still specialize in Ford stuff? And how many times do I have to get asked that here on that channel and respond to that same question over and over again, and people still ask me the same damn question? It gets frustrating. So if I snapped on you, it's because you already asked me that. I remember you, as well as like 2 or 3 other guys, have asked me that same question over and over again, and I keep giving you guys the same answer over and over again about, no, I'm not changing my channel name. Like, why even ask that? When I'm ready to do that, or if I thought that that would be an appropriate thing, I would do it. I don't understand why people care that much about the channel name. So I apologize for hurting your feelings the other day. Maybe I could have said that completely different, but you also have to understand the stress that a lot of this puts me through sometimes when people keep asking me the same stupid questions over and over again. It's just, to me, and again, I'm not trying to attack you, just tired of hearing it, tired of answering that same question. It's so redundant. Let me show you this. The dude that asked for the dipstick thing on the 4.6 goes through here, and there's this cover piece right here, but it shows that it's almost like a bracket, and then it goes out and around the exhaust manifold external port right here, but it cuts across the top of it, and they're saying to remove it to do that so the exhaust manifold will fit over it. I gotta go out here and start lining out these TPMS sensors on this Escape. I've been on here longer than I normally have been lately, so let me jump out here. Let me start to getting to work with the guys and going over stuff with the guys, they're already out there working. And then they do have actually universal oil dipstick lines that you can even get. I think there's even a company for. I wanted to do this to my truck. I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing this or not, but it's a 6R80. It's a 6R80 dipstick kit. They actually have a kit for them. Look. See, B&M locking transmission dipstick 2010 to 2017 Ford F-150 with an automatic transmission. And it's good for the AODE, AR75E, 475E, AODW, 475E, 6R80, and 10R80 transmissions. And it's 40.63 inches long. And it actually goes in the end of it here. And then there's a top piece that you can mount up in the engine bay. And this right here replaces that little plug that Ford puts in the transmission. You get an actual dipstick tube. I will. I mean, the one time that JT tried to hook me up and get me on there, I missed his live stream, and then I actually talked to him and was scheduled to be pulled on there, and everything was set up. Dude, I blew it. I apologize for it. I said, man, I'm so sorry. I have a lot going on right now. I was supposed to be at this live stream tonight, and because it's not part of my normal wheelhouse, I missed it. So, you know, whenever in the future it comes around again, if he wants to give me another chance to be on there, I understand. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And I feel terrible for missing the live stream date because I was supposed to be on there, and a lot of his subscribers were relying on me to be on there, but I had so much going on in my life that I missed it, and it is what it is, man. You know, you can only say sorry and mean it for the first time you say it. You keep saying it over and over again, you can't keep apologizing for it. I'm not going to beg somebody or you know, and I'm sure he's not looking for that, but yeah, I'll go on with him again. I just have to do better at managing my time and stuff like that, and unfortunately sometimes people want me to do things and be on live streams and podcasts and everything else, and I just can't be there sometimes. And sometimes I have so much going on that my brain gets overwhelmed with everything that I forget. 3.7 also has an internal water pump. Need to change the coolant regularly and keep an eye out on the water pump. Yeah, sure. What are my thoughts on the current generation Ford Ranger? Mine has been pretty solid, so I like them. I like them, even when you they should come with a factory dipstick, you're right, but they don't. So what would you check first on an 05 Explorer with four-wheel drive? Engage it. Electronics and the transfer motor. There's only one guy can't do everything at once. True. I try to be there for everybody, but it's just sometimes it's difficult. Wednesday nights I have the podcast with Power Stroke Tech Talk with A-Rod and Cody and DS Trucks and Krautster and you know Eric from I Do Cars and Rayman Ray. We're on there every Wednesday giving back, you know, for a couple hours. Tuesdays I have a different type of meeting somewhere else. Monday I'm typically not doing anything. Wednesday is with Aaron, that live stream I just talked about with all the guys. Thursday, pretty clear for me, and Friday's pretty clear for me. Wednesday, I like to leave it for some lighter home projects or just whatever's off the top of the head. What's going on, Rock Your World? I gotta get out here. You guys have a great day. I need to get in the shop and go check things out, look at things, and go see why my business partner hasn't came to say good morning, because I bet you he's not here. You know why? Because the owner can be late whenever he wants to be late, and then I have to yell at him and say, hey, you're supposed to be here on time. I'm writing you up. I'm just kidding. He's my buddy. I love him to death. He's like a brother to me. So I'll catch y'all later. Be blessed. Have a great day. Well, maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. Yeah, John, I will. I tell him all the time, hey, it's 9 o'clock. Why are you showing up at 9:15? I give my guys more leeway than I give him leeway. Well, Joe, I'm leaving already. Brother, you just got